We are thrilled to welcome New York Times best-selling author John Grisham to My Carolina. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us about the new book you have out.
Always happy to be in Raleigh. Good seeing you.
Yes, we just talked a little bit about all of the ties you have to this area. You have family here, so we do love that you've gotten us involved in this latest book. So you're well known for your court dramas, but you have quite a few sports-themed novels as well. People are probably familiar with Bleachers or Calico Joe, maybe. But why did you decide to try your hand at a basketball novel this time?
Well, I love the sport. We follow. I follow college sports a lot, especially basketball, football, and baseball. And my wife is a rabid basketball fan. She played basketball in high school, same high school I played at. She was a lot better than I was. And Renee was born in Raleigh a few years ago at Rex Hospital, where both of my grandkids were born. So we have some very deep ties to Raleigh. Both grandkids still live there. And so during basketball season, we go to all the UVA home games here in Charlottesville. And then we go to almost all of the UNC home games in Chapel Hill. And so we're running down the road all the time between basketball and grandkids. We spend a lot of time in Raleigh. And I love the game and live for the tournaments. And it's very much a part of our lives.
So this new book you have out called Sooley, it is your first basketball novel, and a large chunk of the story takes place right here in the Triangle, a lot in Durham, over in Durham. So tell me why you chose North Carolina as sort of the setting for this incredible story.
Well, a couple of reasons. It's kind of like second home. I know the area pretty well. Sooley, when we meet Sooley, he's a character. He's obviously the protagonist of the novel. He's a 17-year-old kid from South Sudan who comes over in the summertime to play in some showcase tournaments and all that. And while he's here, some terrible things happen to his village back in South Sudan. And he can't go home. The home has been destroyed. He's not sure where his family is, not sure they're alive. They're scattered like other refugees. And the book goes back and forth between what Sooley's going through and what his family is enduring back there. And a friend of a friend, a coach, twists an arm of the head coach at Central, and Sooley is given a scholarship as a freshman, redshirt freshman, to show up on campus at Central and join the basketball team.
I loved this book. I finished it in 2 days because I was just brought in by the beautiful writing, of course, and the story that's told kind of across two different continents. I don't want to give away too many details for people because they really do need to check this out. But the story is fictional, but there is a little bit of real life influence from a player called Len Bias. Is that right? Tell me a little bit about the influence he played on this story.
Back in the early 80s, when Michael Jordan was rampaging through the ACC, he had a rival at the University of Maryland named Len Bias, and Len Bias was his equal. And living around here in Charlottesville and Raleigh, people still talk about Len Bias because they saw him play. I just saw him on television. He was the first round draft pick of the Celtics in 83 or 84. And 2 days after he was drafted, he died of an overdose. And it was one of the great, sad sports stories because he had such enormous potential. This huge loss of promise and potential is very sad. And like I said, it's true in sports. It's true in every sport. And the sad stories kind of stick with you. I know the game at one level as a fan to be able to enjoy watching, the furious action for 2 hours. But there's a deeper knowledge that only coaches and players can really tell you what they're doing with a certain defense or a certain offense. And I don't know that stuff. And I didn't want to get too complicated in the book, but I talked to some coaches and players, former players. I talked to some referees. That kind of research is fun.
You chose a throwback photo of yourself here for the author photo.
Yeah.
So you had some big dreams of playing basketball as well. Tell me about how those panned out.
They didn't pan out. I had huge dreams and no talent. Just an average kid, for an average high school. I did it sort of as a joke because now one of the hardest things I do as a writer after 30 years is worry with the author photo because my fans can go back 30 years and see how much I've aged since A Time to Kill in 1989. I was 34 years old. And so you just watch a guy grow old through his author photos. And I hate to sit for photography anyway. I thought I would just do something different and put my old basketball picture on the cover and see if anybody got a kick out of it.
So tell me, what is next for you? Are you going back to the courtroom, or are you hitting another sports novel next?
I start every year in January. I start the next legal thriller. And about all we do in the wintertime is watch basketball. And I write during the mornings or the days because I get a lot of writing done January, February, March, and April. Those months are very productive. Then the weather gets nice like it is now, and I get distracted a little bit. I'm probably 2/3 of the way through the next legal thriller called The Judge's List. It'll be out. It's a juicy, suspenseful legal story with dead bodies everywhere. That's what the readers seem to enjoy. So that's what I give them.
Yes, I was going to say, you get both sides of the spectrum. You get the thrilling sports novels from you, and you also get the gory courtroom thrillers. But we do appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Enjoyed it.
Absolutely. I did enjoy the book, and I'm going to be passing it along to all of my friends. Thank you again so much for your time.
Thanks, Joanna. See you. Take care.